Alright, so in this video we're going to keep with percent proportion, but we're going to start to look at word problems. So your goal is I can solve word problems using the percent proportion. But before we get started, we're going to do a quick review of percent proportion without word problems. So let's go ahead and solve these. So 50 is 20% of what number? So we're going to have 50 over x equals 20% over 100. Okay, so we have x times 20, which is 20x, equals 50 times 100, which is going to be 5,000. So we're going to box the variable, and we're going to divide by 20 on both sides. This is going to cancel, and we're left with x equals, and we're going to do 5,000 divided by 20, which is 250. So our of, in this case, is 250. And keep in mind that this is our part and this is our whole, because that's going to come into play here just in a minute. Okay? So what percent of 20 is 4? So we have 4 is our is, of is our 20. We're looking for our percent over 100. Okay? So we have 20 times x is 20x. 4 times 100 is 400. So we're going to box our variable, divide by 20 on both sides. These cancel, and we're left with x equals, and 400 divided by 20 is 20. And so in this case, our answer is 20%. All right, so here we have what number is 70% of 250. So we have x over 250 equals 70% over 100. So we have 100 times x, which is 100x, equals, and then we have 250 times 70, which is a big number here. We have 17,500. So we're going to box the variable. We're going to divide by 100 on both sides, which is going to give us x equals 175. So our part here, our is 175. All right, so 10 is 5% of what number? So we have 10 over x is our missing number, 5% over 100. So 5 times x is 5x, equals 10 times 100 is 1,000. Box the variable, divide both sides by 5. The 5's cancel, x equals, and then 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. So in this case, the of is 200. All right, that was a quick review. Now, let's take a look at a quick review of the definition. So, we know that a proportion is something that compares a part of a quantity to a whole of a quantity. But what I want to remind you of is where that's located. So we know our freebie is the 100, and we know that the percent goes on top. But what's important is that the part and the whole on the other side, where their location is. because that's what comes into play here with the word problems. So we're going to have a part and we're going to have a whole. The part goes on top, that's the is. The whole goes on the bottom, that's the of. Let me show you what I mean in our first example. Salvador poured 6 cups into a water jug, of water into a jug. The jug was 40% filled. How many cups of water does the jug hold? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a blank proportion. I'm going to put my freebie 100. Now, we know that we have a percent in the problem, 40%. And then we have this number 6 here. But here's my question. Is that 6 the part or is it the whole? Let's read it again. Salvador poured 6 cups of water into the jug. The jug was 40% filled. So, was that part of the jug or was that the whole jug? That was part of the jug. So with that 6 cups of water, it was only 40% filled. How many cups of water does the jug hold? That's going to be the whole. So we need to find out how many cups of water the whole jug holds. That's the whole. So let's go ahead and solve. So 40 times x is 40x. 6 times 100 is 600. Box the variable, divide by 40, divide by 40. This cancels. X equals 600 divided by 40 is 15. So the answer to this problem is the jug holds 15 cups of water. All right, let's take a look at another example. There are 30 students in Mrs. Jones' class. 60% of her class is made up of girls. How many girls are in Mrs. Jones' class? So let's set up our blank proportion. We know that our freebie is 100. Here I have my percentage, 60%. Now I have this number here, 30. But is it the part or is it the whole? There are 30 students in Miss Jones's class. 60% of her class is made up of girls. How many girls are in Miss Jones's class? So are those 30 students the 60% who are girls, or is that her whole class? The answer is that is her whole class. It's asking us to find out how many are girls if 60% of them are girls. Okay? So we need to find out what the X is, what the 60% who are girls is. So 30 times 60%, or 30 times 60, is 1,800. And then x times 100 is 100x. Box the variable, divide by 100 on both sides. Those cancel, bring down the x, bring down the equals. 1,800 divided by 100 is 18. Flip it around. X equals 18. So how many girls are in Miss Jones's class? There are 18 girls in Miss Jones's class. All right, next problem. Roberta answered 17 of the questions on her test correctly. If there were 20 questions on her test, what percent did Roberta earn on her exam? All right, so let's set up a blank proportion. We know that we have 100 as a freebie. There's no percentage in the question, so let's take a look. She answered 17 questions correctly. There were 20 questions on the test. What percent did Roberta earn? So we know we're finding the percent. That's X. How many questions were on the test in total? That's the whole. There were 20 questions. How many did she get right? 17. That's the part. We need to find out her percentage. So 20 times x is 20x. 17 times 100 is 1,700. Box the variable, divide by 20, divide by 20. Those cancel. X equals 1,700 divided by 20 is 85. So what grade did Roberta earn on her test? Roberta made an 85% on her test. And this should say percent. All right, one more question. At Little Rock School, 476 students ride their bike to school. If this number is 85% of the school enrollment, then how many students are enrolled? So again, let's set up a blank proportion. 100 is our freebie. It's giving us a percent here, 85%. Now, this number here, 476. 476 students ride their bike to school. So is that the part or is that the whole? Well, let's read the question. How many students are enrolled? It's asking us how many students go to school total. So it's asking us to find the whole. So this is the part, 476. So let's solve. X times 85 is 85x. 476 times 100 is 47,600. Box the variable, divide both sides by 85. These cancel. X equals 47,600 divided by 85 is 560. So the answer is there are 560 students enrolled at the school. All right, that is the end of this lesson. We're going to do a lot more practice in class with percent proportion word problems, but that was just a brief introduction. Let me know if you have any questions.